Hi friends, I'm Felicia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the Ultimate Book Lovers tag. It is a tag created by Sam from Sam's Nonsense, and she was lovely enough to tag me as well. So I'm going to be doing that today for you. A lot of these questions are hard, so thanks Sam, but I'm going to do my best. Question number 1 is your top 3 favorite books. And this is very hard. So I'll do 3 of my top favorite books. So the first book is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and I think this is tied with Pride and Prejudice for my favorite classic, but I think this is my favorite classic because this is the first classic that I read, and I just for some reason absolutely fell in love with it. I haven't read it in a few years. I would like to, but there's just something about Jane's character that I connect with, and I think that she's very strong and brave. Yeah, I just really love this book. It just speaks to me. So this is one of my favorites. Book number 2 is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. You shouldn't be surprised about this one, or Jane Eyre. You should know that already. This is a book by a Canadian author. There's just something about this book that just absolutely compels me. Like, I want to read, like, I'm looking at it and thinking about it, I'm like, I want to read this right now. I just really love the path that the story takes, and how Emily St. John Mandel takes all these different characters and kind of weaves their stories together, and the thought experiment, I guess, of the situation that the world is in here, and it's just so fascinating, and I just love it. I find it so compelling, and I think it's a really awesome book. Then the third book that I picked, not necessarily my third favorite, but it's the third one that I picked to talk about today, and that is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I just love this series. I love it so much. I love all 3 books. I have read this series like maybe 3 or 4 times. I'm not even sure, but every time I just find more to appreciate about the series and the writing, and it's really deep for a young adult series, and the social commentary that Suzanne Collins does, and just the development of the characters is actually really amazing and just really thoughtful, I guess. Like, you can tell that she put a lot of thought to it, and it's a lot of subtleties that you don't pick up the first time that you're reading it. And yeah, I think I just get more out of it every time I read it. So I just really love the series. Question number 2 is your top 3 least favorite books. The first one is Rooms by Lauren Oliver. I did not finish that book. I thought it was horrible. The writing was just disgusting, and I hated all of the characters. And it actually convinced me not to read any more Lauren Oliver books. Yeah, I'm not really gonna follow her writing at all like I used to. The next book is When She Woke by Hilary Jordan, and I've never heard anyone else talk about that book. Don't remember if it's supposed to be young adult or adult, but it's kind of based on The Scarlet Letter, and it's kind of a modern futuristic dystopian take on that or something. But it was just absolutely stupid. The characters were just dumb. I hated all of them as well. I think she did a lot of things in the book that were like didn't make sense at all, and it was just like the same thing over and over, and the main character was just not likable and dumb, and I didn't finish it because she did something towards the end of the book, and I was like, hey, I'm done. This is just ridiculous. So yeah, and I got rid of that book very quickly. Then the last one is a series, and that's actually the Maze Runner series by James Dashner. I don't really understand why people like that series as much as they often do. The writing is just really confusing. I think the author, he does a thing where you purposely keep information from the main characters so that you're not supposed to figure things out too quickly. And so it's just basically the main character walking around asking a lot of questions, and everyone just brushing him off and never answering them. Like, just flat out pretending that he's not talking at all. Like, it's really dumb. And then the ending was just absolutely stupid And when I closed it, I was like, I wasted my time on this whole series because I thought maybe it would get better, and it never did. And yeah, so that's one series that makes me mad that I wasted my time on it. Just that I have been watching the movies as they have been coming out though, and he thinks it's fun because like I just have so much hate for the books, and the movies are actually way better. Not that they're great, but they're better. And so I'm actually looking forward to the last movie coming out just so that I can finish that up and see how they end it, if they change the ending from the book, because they have deviated a bit from the books. This is going to be a really long tag. Question number 3 is a popular author that you love, and I'm going to say John Green. I know some people don't like his books. I just love all of his books, and I also follow him on YouTube and stuff, and I just really enjoy his videos and stuff there. And yeah, I just think that he's a pretty cool person in real life, or I mean, as far as he presents himself on social media. And yeah, I just love his books. Question number 4 is a popular author that you don't love. I don't love James Dashner. I will never read any of his books ever again. Question number 5 is an underrated book that you think everyone should read, and instead of a book, I'm going to say an author. I find it too hard to say a book that everyone should read because I know that not every book is for everyone, so yeah, it's hard to pick a book. So I pick an author, and that is Stuart McLean. He's a Canadian author that passed away at the beginning of this year, and he has written a very beloved Canadian series, which is the Vinyl Cafe series, in addition to having a radio show where he tells stories from this Vinyl Cafe world that he's created, the characters that are featured in his books. Yeah, they're just really heartwarming, touching stories about everyday life, and I would really recommend that to everyone. I think there's something in those stories for everyone. Question number 6 is a series that you won't finish, and for me that's the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard. I read the first book and I was just bored, and then I thought maybe I would continue since it was a trilogy, but now there's like 5 books or something. I'm like, nope, forget it, not gonna read this. It just felt so much like so many other books that I've read before that did it better, so I'm not interested in finishing that series. Question number 7 is your earliest bookish memory. I know that I've always had a book on my person. My mom has lots of pictures of me as a kid with books. The earliest memory that I have is coming home on the bus from kindergarten and reading a book on the bus, and the book was something about ice cream. And that's all that I remember, but I think that's my earliest bookish memory. Question number 8 is your favorite bookish memory, and I really don't have an answer for this one. I racked my brain. I just couldn't think of like a favorite bookish memory, like a specific memory. But one of like something that just always makes me feel happy is walking through chapters on a quiet afternoon and having, I don't know, a chai or something to drink from Starbucks, and just wandering and looking and taking my time and just picking up things as they strike my fancy, and that's just something I've always loved to do. And yeah, that's one of my I don't like, not a specific memory, but it's just, yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. Question number 9 is your favorite genre to read. Not that I read tons and tons of it, but I think my favorite genre to read is sci-fi. I still feel this like so new to that genre because it's so expansive, but I always enjoy reading sci-fi, and I have, as you can see on my TBR shelf, I have a lot of sci-fi books to read. Yeah, not that I'm like super into it and like super hardcore sci-fi, but I always enjoy reading sci-fi. Question number 10 is your least favorite genre to read. My least favorite genre to read is paranormal. I just don't care for it. I don't really like them. I mean, every once in a while apparently I get into a mood for vampires, but in general I just don't really like paranormal. Question number 11 is a difficult or important book that you're proud to have read. And for me, that is Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. This book is over 1,100 pages. And I read it over the course of 6 months. And I actually, for the most part, loved it. There were some really boring parts that I actually skipped. But for the most part, I loved it. It's actually a really beautiful story. And yeah, I just liked it, and I'm proud that I have read this brick that not a lot of people seem to have read these days. So I'm very proud of myself for that. I absolutely love the musical with Hugh Jackman. It's so good. Question number 12 is your favorite childhood book. I don't really remember specifically favorite books from my childhood. There's a book that I'm just completely blanking on the title now, and I should remember because I bought it for my nephew and gave it to him for Christmas one year. Treasure Tree. The Treasure Tree. Don't remember who the author is. That's a book that actually takes you through kind of the 4 different personality categories that are in the DISC profile, if you're familiar with that. And I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that until I actually gave it to my nephew, and I was like, this is so cool! And I could actually pick myself out of the personalities, and I was like, yes, this fits. So that was kind of cool. So that was a book that I loved. It was just like a fun adventure story, kind of like a quest. So I like a good quest story. Another book is Brenda's Buttons. Have no idea who that's by, and it's just a little kid's book about a bear named Brenda, and she collects buttons, and her button collection is completely out of hand. One more would be The Trumpet of the Swan by E.B. White. I think that's the most underrated out of his 3 kids books, and that was my favorite one. It's about a swan that has no voice, and so he learns how to play the trumpet so that he can communicate, and it's pretty cool. I actually have it, but I don't want to stand up to get it for you, to show you. Question number 13 is your favorite book cover. That's another really hard question. I'm just going to go with Anne of Green Gables, this edition. And all of the books in these editions, the whole series in these editions. Cover illustration is by Ellie McKay, and the design is by Kelly Hill. So I guess Ellie McKay is the illustrator, and these are just absolutely beautiful. I love them to pieces, and these were the only ones that I could really think of that have beautiful covers right now. So, yeah. And they're published by Tundra Books, and as far as I know, they're only available in Canada, but now you have all the information to go looking for them, because I get that question every time I show them. Question number 14 is an ugly book cover. This one, Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. This cover is just bleh. And I would have gotten rid of this book already, but my husband likes it, so yeah. I just think this cover is really ugly. Like, I don't understand what's going on. It just, well, yeah. Question number 15 is give a diverse book recommendation. And the first one that came to mind was a book that I read recently, and that was The Golem and the Jinni by Helene Wecker. And that one, as far as I remember, there's like one white character in the whole book, and the rest of the characters are Syrian or Jewish, and we just follow the characters in those communities, and I just think it's really great. I have not read, I've never read fantasy that follows other cultures beside like a Caucasian European kind of culture. So I just found it really interesting. And so I would recommend that one because that was the first one that came to mind. Then the last question, question 16, is why do you love to read? And I love to read because it takes me to different places that I would otherwise never get to go. I get to experience life through different situations, different characters, people who just are completely different from me, and it helps me to learn about the world and to have more empathy for other people. It's just fun. And I totally use reading for escapism, and reading something with a compelling storyline. Just, I don't know, there's not a feeling really like that feeling, just getting completely sucked into a book. It's just such a wonderful feeling, and I just love it. So those are all the questions, and if you would like to do this tag as well, please do. Yeah, if you have read any of these books, let me know. And leave a comment down below and let me know what is one difficult or challenging book that you have read that you're proud that you read. I would love to know. That's all that I have for today. Until next time, so long, and thanks for all the fish.